So, Christmas is over. Hope y'all had a good one. I do want to give a quick little shout out before I get started on this one. My buddy Kick It Back over at J-Raps sent me a little Christmas present. A J-Rap with JC West on it. So, thanks brother, I appreciate the gift. For those of you that don't know, I did do a review on the J-Raps there a little while back. I'll put a link down in the description for them, but that's not what this is about. Today is the much anticipated and requested, probably the most requested review I've had from the first impressions that I did. So what we're going to talk about today is the Mark T Infinity from Mark Bugs, available over at cloud9vaping.com. So here we go. So, a lot of requests to do the final for this. So today we're going to get a little bit up close and talk about it. To start, most of you know I'm a Genesis vapor to the core. But I have found a way to satisfy, I guess, the Genesis inside of me with this dripping addy. After I did the first impressions, I had so many things come in, so many different Genesises come in, that I kind of kind of put it up on the shelf and sort of forgot about it. I had many requests and messages on YouTube to go ahead and do the final for this, so I picked it up 3 days ago, and it's the only thing I vaped for 3 days. And I remembered why I was in love with it the day that I got it. So we'll take a toot off of it, see how it goes, and then on to some thoughts. It's epic. Some of the reason for the vapor production on this is the 5/64 air hole that I put on it. Now I will say again, I'm not necessarily, or have never been a dripper, and I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't say myself being a full convert, because, I'm just running this thing at 4 volts right now with a 1.2, let me see what it is. Let me see if I can get up here. And 1.3 ohm coil, and I'm running it at 4 volts. Now I can crank this thing up to 4, and I think I can get it up to about 4.5. With where I vape with 12 milligram juice, if I was to run it up to 4.5, I would have to cut my neck down, because the vapor production is actually just absurd at that voltage. So, I really don't think you could call this extreme, 1.3 ohms and 4 volts. It just, the base fed, air fed, dripping style addy like the Fatty or like the Mark T Infinity, I think hands down, I don't think anything can beat them on vapor production, especially if you mod out the air hole. But I do want to show you how I've kind of satisfied the Genesis at heart that I have, but still maintained a dripping addy. So what I did, so I took a little, about 3/16 piece of mesh, and I wrapped it around this piece of silica and gave it a good haircut to make it kind of go like, I don't know, so it fit down in there, wouldn't have too much wick. So what I've got here is essentially, I'm burning the juice on mesh. So I'm getting the flavor of a Genesis, but I'm getting the convenience of the fact that the silica holds a lot more juice. Now what I have discovered in the last 3 days is just how simple it is to really, to clean one of these out and change flavors, and I'll actually demonstrate that for you, and it's a pretty easy process. See how that wick is nice and dingy there, it's full of juice, so we'll just burn that off. This is a little boring, but right now I'm just burning that juice off. take just a minute. Normally I'm at the end of a juice, but I just dripped on this, so I should have actually demonstrated this before I dripped it off. So right now I'm just burning off all the juice that's inside that silica. Now my coil's starting to glow. Now we're starting to get there. Okay. Now I turn it down because now there's really hardly any juice in the equation. So now it's just metal on metal. So you actually do E2 a little bit on the mesh here. You know how Provari is, once you miss it, you missed it. So I was at 4, I'm gonna turn it down to 3.3, how about that? You see how that wick is starting to turn white? Now, I don't know how well you can see that. I hope you can see it, I really do. Because now that wick that was all dirty and dingy is now snow white. And now I can put a new flavor in here and vape it as long as I want. And then when it starts to get dry, that process is actually only about probably 1/10 as long as it just was, because I've already got the juice out. So now the piece of mesh is protecting the silica, so I'm not actually continuing to burn the silica. You know, this thing has lasted for a long time without having to put a new coil on it. And I think that again is the result from the silica being protected by the mesh. So whenever I burn it off and get it all white like that, then I just kind of juice it up. Okay, she's juiced up, ready for the top. Now, after I've done that, I'll put me about 4 drops in, and I'm ready to vape again. So it's pretty easy to seamlessly change flavors. I'm going to turn this up a little bit now and go ahead and give it a vape. And there we go, off on a brand new juice. So I got a large order of juice in, a bunch of different kinds, and so instead of loading up 10 different Genesises, I broke this thing out and I've used it to sample juice. It's been a really clean and effective way to go from one flavor to the next, produce tons and tons of vapor, get great flavor with the wire on the mesh. So all in all, I mean, when it comes to a dripping Addy, for me now, it's the only one I've ever really tried, so I don't necessarily have a ton of reference, but it is my understanding like the Fatty and things like that work on the same principle. It's a sealed bottom with base fed airflow. I'm going to say for anybody that is a dripper, again, I don't have any reference, but it's just a phenomenal, outstanding vape. It produces more vapor than anything else I have, and I get the flavor of the Genesis with the mesh on the silica. So double, triple, quadruple thumbs up on the Mark T Infinity. I know I've heard that the new Chalice is coming out, and it's I don't know, I'm curious. I'm going to get one just to see how it goes because I've never used a bottom fed dripper. But it's kind of a similar concept, but just the convenience of being able to bottom feed it, because you can't bottom feed the Mark T Infinity. So we'll see. But as it is right now, I absolutely love it. I think it's a wonderful, phenomenal vape, and I don't think you could go wrong with it. So one more vape, that's what I got. Clouds. Amazing. That's what I got. Chevy JC West, ECF, New Vapor Forum, Vapor Wall, Vape Pit, UK Vapors, Facebook, just about everywhere else. Be strong, vape on. See you again next time.